Nigerians are expected to seek out the best. Two words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live.
I wish you
as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
News. A 24-hour news station.
Thanks for joining us again on Core Digest this beautiful day. And I'm joined again by the phenomenal Gbola. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
You phenomenal. Boy.
I'm sure you didn't have challenges getting fuel on your way here.
No, not at all. I got fuel pretty easy. I slept in Ikorodu. I was driving out of Ikorodu and I drove into one of the filling stations just at this thing. And it was pretty easy. I even had to pay by my card, so it was that easy.
Oh, that's cool, and we hope that that situation can remain that way, because in Abuja yesterday it was terrible for vehicle owners.
So I heard about Ilorin too and some other parts of the north, but let's be very honest with ourselves, since the network of pipes, you know, the NNPC pipes, since the network, has been abused, fuel has had to be taken literally by tankers from Lagos to the hinterland. So it could get to start early enough in the hinterland and somewhat belatedly in Lagos, because this is where we get almost all of the fuel that is supplied to all parts of Nigeria now.
You know, some have started questioning the patriotism of the oil workers at this particular time and their strike action. Oh
no, to have me here talk about the oil workers, Nupeng and Pengerson, is not going to be fair. I am one who is noted as an entrepreneur. I'm one who is noted as a capitalist. I do confess to it. So it's not going to be fair for me to talk about them. Okay. I see the core ideological values driving them as totally obsolescent. And I see most of those characters who claim to be union leaders, I see them as, profiteers using positions, using their positions to make money. They're not fighting for I don't see in any way, shape or form how this strike can readdress the issue of the PIB bill. Indeed, I haven't listened to two of their prominent leaders. They don't even know the meaning of the PIB bill. Petroleum Industry Bill, one referred to it as a Petroleum Information Bill. One yesterday, I was listening to one on the radio, he referred to it. Korodo, Alhaji Korodo, the Southwest leader of one of the unions, he referred to it as a Petroleum Industrial Bill. When you are not even familiar with the nomenclature of what you claim to be fighting for, it says a lot. So it's not fair for me to sit here alone and not be, countersaid by somebody representing the ideological side. But I think majority of these unionists are just smart Alex playing on the emotions and the sentiments of Nigerians to make personal this thing for themselves.
But can the federal government be totally absolved at this time of blames?
Look, I'm not here to be a federal government apologist. I am not here to be a federal government apologist. I know there are 1,001 things that the federal government seems to be doing bad and bad enough. But let's be fair to ourselves. Except you be a sadist in this country, even if the federal government, as we all know, were not to be doing well in the management of our petroleum resources or in the way they are managing our valuable infrastructural assets like the roads, is it the appropriate time for people to go on strike? It depends on sadism. He borders on sheer sadism.
Okay, let's hear that particular clip. We played it earlier from the Lagos oil workers, and I believed the man is the General Secretary of the Petroleum and Natural Senior, what's it called now? Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. Adebayo Oluoshile is the first man to talk in that clip. Let's hear him out and find out his position as regards the timing and the purpose of this strike action.
This is time for us to correct the east before we go to 2015. So we don't want it to be that we wait until the Christmas is still close to corner, but we believe that time is now. We had our meeting October 31st, 2014, and we immediately served government on these grievance issues. Let us sit down and talk. November 10, we had meeting, no headway. November 18, we had meeting, no headway. December 9, we had meeting, no headway. Where is the commitment? And that is the problem that we have now. It's not about politics. It's about the fact that every Nigerians know that oil and gas industry in Nigeria can do as better as any other country's oil and gas sector. So we want our country, we are a monolithic economy. And the question is that if there is a problem within the industry, it is going to have far-reaching effect on the entire economy. And we don't want to be held responsible for that because we are a key stakeholder. We have strategic responsibility to ensure that we make this industry to do better than what it is doing now.
It's not a good idea at all because it's going to affect the whole of the festive period. People are going to suffer a lot.
If I have an enemy or if I have someone who's supposed to give me something, holding him 2 months to election time might be holding him at the Gbola. Don't you think that if indeed they have justifiable grievances, the timing is also quite accurate?
You see, I said earlier on that it is not fair to let me just have...
We just balance it with...
To let me have a one-way ideological throw of the punch against these people. I am one who, from my core belief, I think these individuals are profiteers who basically are using union platforms for self-gratification. Look, Nigeria is now a country where people have perfected the art of using whatever position they have to shake down government. You know what Americans call shaking down something? If you are broke and you think when I was a young boy in the backwood of where I was born and grew up, suddenly you just, you go and hire a masquerade gear and you go to the marketplace. You know, naturally women will run away from Egun. All these street urchins. We used to do it, and you scare the women, you extort something out of them, and this is what they're doing. But you see, until you have a balanced platform, that you bring a union leader here, and somebody like myself from my ideological corner will come, and this is shaking down the government. This is shaking down the society. Look, you may not know. They will end the strike. It's supposed to be a 3-day strike. At the end of the strike, some boys will be invited to Abuja, and they will be silenced with millions of naira. Majority of these unionists use this so-called union, these so-called protestations and strikes.
You mean without the real issues being resolved?
My brother, is it not utopic at this juncture for anybody to think that suddenly all the roads that Jonathan could not fix in 4 years will suddenly be fixed now? Huh? How many days to Christmas? Our brothers and sisters, people from the East will soon be leaving now for the East. Oh, this is the best time to close all the roads under construction. You don't see, how far have they gone? Huh? Oh, this is the best time for them to think that the PIB bill that has been held ransom at the National Assembly since the time of Olusegun Obasanjo as president, we suddenly find the light of day now, Abi? Oh, our parliamentarians are suddenly born again this thing. Oh, due to the protestation of the unionists. Oh, this is the right time Shake down Bob Dylan. Guys, even say they need money for Christmas.
It's all right. Let's move away quickly from there.
Honestly, don't let
we
me.
have quite a number of issues to talk about as
you.
regards matters arising. Well, today's December 16, and then the National Assembly is reopening again. The last time the House of Reps convened, it was a hell of a drama, and then the whole world got to know about how there were tear gassed and we saw lawmakers killing fences and all of that. But another major issue arising now is the case against Mark by certain senators. There are impeachment clouds gathering of that particular house, and these are the reasons of these group senators, especially those who failed to pick a ticket in the just concluded PDP primaries.
And who happened to be the majority of the chamber?
The primaries, in most instances, they said were hugely flawed. Two, the fact that their interest was not protected, even after they were made to believe that there was an automatic ticket for most of them. And then they said the Senate leadership failed to do the needful at the presidency and the PDP headquarters to create a level playing field for them. Are there all of these reasons enough to think about impeaching the Senate president?
Oh, these guys always bring their self-interest to the fore. You know, they're basically letting David Mark know that, you know what, you are first amongst equal. We choose you over, of a voluntary decision to be first amongst equal. You're supposed to, in all quarters and, in all fora, be representing our interest before even the collective interest of the party and whatever. And let's be very honest with ourselves now. There are three major power blocks in the PDP: the presidency, the Forum of Governors, and the others. The others have the senators as the foot workers at the front. And as it is now, the dynamics of power is such that between the presidency and the Forum of Governors, the power structure in PDP is tilted more to the presidency and the Forum of Governors. Majority of the senators have been sacrificed. Some governors who can be approached and who are a bit reasonable, more reasonable than some, have considered pretty little to pretty few in the upper chamber. A majority of the senators are disgruntled. And when people are disgruntled, especially when their economic interest is as assailed as it is now, they could do and undo. A couple of days ago, due to the furore that happened when the Speaker and some members of the House of Reps were literally barred from entering, we know that issues bordering on the impeachment of the president was contemplated.
That's right.
As some of us who know how stringent the constitutional dictate for such is, felt it was not going to hold water. But in view of the disgruntlement now in the two chambers of the National Assembly, the way they deal with Mark may instruct what may happen on or before we even roll into the new year.
But what does this portend for the party? Will it be a situation whereby we remove Mark for another PDP senator, or then it's going to change?
No, in the Senate is a clean court for the PDP. In the Senate, because the PDP majority is quite well pronounced in the Senate
than the House of Reps.
The House of Reps, and apart from that, a number of the senators have not quite done. They've not quite done the swap. That is, they've not quite crossed carpet as some of the members in the lower chamber. Although technically there are some ostensible PDP senators who are in every manner, shape, or form. APC chieftains. On paper, Saraki is still a PDP senator because the senators who wanted to change over to APC were literally refused by the gamesmanship and the craftsmanship and the leadership of David Mark. He did not quite let the issue degenerate as it did in the lower chamber. But you see, what happens to Mark between now and say the next, the end of the year will instruct whether it may even be candidate Jonathan that'll be marking the post for the PDP at the next general elections, the presidential. But let's be very honest, the constitutional stipulation for the impeachment of the president is not Tea Party. It's not easy to fulfill, but it is doable. Doable because to even contemplate serving either the president or the vice president a notification of impeachment, you need 1/3 of each of the 2 chambers of the National Assembly. You must remember that unlike in the state's houses of assembly, in the National Assembly we have a bicameral legislature.
Okay.
At the state houses of assembly we have a unicameral, just 1 chamber.
That's right.
And it's easy when you are always obnobbing and relating with somebody to know which direction they're going. At the National Assembly, you have 2 chambers. Each of the 2 chambers must have 1/3 of the total members penning the signature to the protestation before notification. After notification and giving the president 7 days to reply, you need 2/3 majority of the 2 houses to agree to institute official investigation. And you see, whilst all this machinery is playing out at the 2 chambers, you must remember that the presidency too is not going to be docile. And the presidency controls the coffer of the country. So some of these guys, like I said earlier on about the unionists, some of these guys too have perfected the art. You know, because we've seen it before under Chief Olusegun Obasanjo at the House of Reps, though, not at the Senate there.
That's right.
And guys, you know, smile to the bank. So they also know how to use it for shakedown and also use it as a kind of instrumentation for realpolitik. We've lost ground here, but when we push you to the wall, being the ultimate beneficiary of this thing, you will also lean on the governors and tell them to concede, you know, everyone room now.
I see your point of view. But then, unlike other assemblies, it looks as if this particular, I think the 7th National Assembly, so to speak, is more stabilized in its form of leadership. Prior to this time, it's one impeachment to the other, and then they change
no, you don't have to be that generalistic. You have to be very, very careful. The Senate relatively has had
a stable leadership
to its contemporary history. And the reason is just that a northerner has been the Senate president in the 7th assembly. When my brothers from the East were Senate presidents, look, I was talking to somebody on Sunday. I was talking to a group of public intellectuals on Sunday, and I was vehemently arguing that at this juncture, APC should be considering taking an Igbo man as the vice presidential candidate to Buhari, because it is only fair that since 1999, an Igbo also should occupy the most strategic, one of the most strategic offices in the land. You know what the public intellectuals told me? Gbola, shut up. Sometimes you are too intellectual. Sometimes you are too romantic the way you think. That the greatest problem of the Igbos are the Igbos. If you give an Igbo man an office to hold, the greatest backbiters, the people who will be chopping his leg, you know, pardon my Latin, the people who will be chopping his legs to make sure that they take over the position will be Igbos. So that was why when the Senate president, when the seat of the Senate president was zoned to the east, the banana peel was just felling so many candidates and so many characters. Look at, since David Mark took over from the north, just one.
You're saying the issue at that time was simply ethnic.
The issue at that time was more of the vaulting ambition of the majority of the Igbo senators who were making themselves to be easily available for mischief by a megalomaniacal president who never wanted to countenance opposition.
It's all right. Let's open the phone lines for the viewership to participate. When you're calling in, please endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can have a crystal clear communication. And do not forget that there is a little delay between what we say in the studio and what you hear from your TV set. So don't call us and then be hearing yourself on TV. There's going to be a super duper delay. As soon as you acknowledged, please just go ahead with your contribution. Now, quite a clear coast for the...
And I'm expecting Tochukwu to...
definitely. I'm sure that people will indeed fire you with your Igbo. This one that you have gone to Igbo.
No, they know.
I'm not with you on that one.
No, to be honest with you, I have always been agitating. I just said it now, that it would have been nice for APC to choose an Igbo vice president.
Okay.
Because these guys are brilliant. So we are fantastic people of leadership quality in the Igbo thing. But you see, Nigeria's contemporary political history tells us that you will want to do the whole Igbo nation. You will want to let them have the opportunity. But the bickerings within those who call themselves leaders and their self-aggrandizement will make a whole region to lose out on its opportunity. By now, Buhari should be looking for, and there are so many brilliant Igbo vice presidential candidates for the taking that will even enhance this thing. But you see, I said it somewhere and somebody said, Gbola, you don't know the Igbos. They even use the example of the Senate leadership you mentioned earlier. That look at how many Igbo senators, you know, they will just go to the villa. Baba, we know the thing where...
It's all right. We're going to get there. Because we don't have any Igbo representative here. Let us leave them for a while. What's it called now? The Speaker of the House of Reps, many said he has survived quite a lot. He survived his security details being withdrawn. He survived being tear-gassed at the floor of the National Assembly. It looks as if he's also surviving the court suits that have been levied against him, as the court has now declined to stop Tambuwal from being Speaker of the House. But do you see any drama at all as both houses reconvene today?
You see, on the issue of Tambuwal, I'd like to be very, very, very clear. We are having...
Let me hold you for a minute. We have someone from Niger State. Good morning, Abdullahi.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Gentlemen, your passion. For the first time, I even thought you are from Kano State. I thought you are from State. But I now discovered that you are not from Kano State. I'm calling from Niger State. The issue of deputy that you are talking is very big in anywhere in the world. To say this particular tribe is a deputy to social person, it's a great respect. And even though in this world, even though you want to start from anywhere, you have to take it there. Look at Jonathan, for instance. Nobody knows Jonathan in Nigeria. Jonathan was a commissioner in his home state. They brought him out. Nobody ever think that an German would be even a deputy in Nigeria. But by God's grace, this man became a deputy. From there, he took over as the president. Today, he wants to go for the second term. And for Igbo issues, people are not united. Look, somebody like Russia to Croatia, I can ordinary man. He's a man who will have to unite under him. But the problem of Igbo people, they have selfish interest. And interest does not take them anywhere. You see person like Iwanyang, a state where we shall come out from. PDP has been ruling that place for how many years? The particular governor that left that seat, the man is corrupt. He didn't even do anything. But this gentleman, he come in, he make a lot of sacrifice. He fight corruption. He make him one of the best states that can count among the states in Nigeria. Then they have done a lot of things. I'm from North, but I can die for that man. But two people doesn't know that this man is a great asset to Igbo people. They continue criticizing this man. They continue to say that it's Boko Haram party, it's so this one. Please, I want Igbo people to unite. Igbo people are so experienced. I like Igbo people, but they have one problem. They're always cloudy with themselves. That is the problem of people.
Thank you very much, Abdullahi, for your contribution from Niger State. Good to hear from you. But I want us to tread carefully here because I don't want us to...
They're Nigerians.
I want us to tread carefully. You know why I want us to tread carefully? The issue of being selfish is not just an ethnic trait. It cuts across broad.
No, let's be very honest
so
ourselves.
We have to be very careful the way
let's be very honest.
So that we don't tag a particular ethnic race as being selfish.
No, we're not saying they're selfish. At this juncture, Gbola Oba is saying, this is Gbola Oba, my personal opinion. And when you're bringing me in here, my brother, you didn't say I should come and validate the editorial opinion of your organization.
No, come on.
Gbola Oba...
I am just being as objective as a Nigerian journalist should be.
And you're right. But at this, Gbola Oba at this juncture believes that the Indigbos, since 1999, this political dispensation has not compensated them well enough relative to the population of Igbos in this polity. This is Gbola Oba. I was born in Mushin, raised in Mushin of a Yoruba stock.
I've told you this red cap will put in trouble. You know that man said you look like Kwakwa Soda. Please, just open the phone lines and let's take as many calls
you see, like you rightly
as
said,
possible.
Like you've rightly said, I'm not even a card-carrying member of the APC, but I would just have loved. There are fantastic Igbo, eminent Igbo administrators, eminent Igbo professionals out there that the APC could pick. Yesterday, when some digital gossips were running around on Facebook and text messages about Prof. Oshibajo, and I was telling somebody, I said, you know what? As brilliant as Prof. Oshibajo is, and in this dispensation, because between 1999, during the Ashiwaju leadership of Lagos, Oshibajo was instrumental to the many heroic constitutional accomplishments of Ashiwaju in the face of the megalomania of the president of the president then. So Oshibajo is no Lilliput when it comes to constitutional issues in Nigeria. And I bow and tremble for the gentleman. But there are also Igbo, studied Igbo minds.
Just hold on a little. Let's take this call from Edo. I really hope that we can also get calls from the East this morning. Good morning, Aneto.
No, I'm not saying it to aside calls from the East, honestly.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Aneto.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, go ahead with the contribution.
The problem, I can see the discourse. The problem of the Igbo are exaggerated. One is about the issue of non-unity. The Igbo people are not united. Everywhere they are, this ego for power is always there. And again, another problem of the people is also the problem of hatred. There is a general hatred by some sections of Nigeria for the Igbos. Apart from the massacre in the 50s, the war has also continued in the form of Cold War. Otherwise, an Igbo person would have been killed by APC in the presidential race as the president. But because of that hatred, let us have it in mind that if the Igbos do not unite and continue to push, they will never be choosing. they merit it. Both whether it's PDP or APC, either as president or as running mate. But I believe that all hope is not lost. They have to be united and push forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. We wouldn't want to bab
Move to
anyone's
another topic
heads
now.
without their heads being here.
Okay,
so let us immediately move to another topic.
You know,
We were talking about Tambo.
I'm not representing what I say. I'm not representing what I say. I was just giving my free opinion. But you know, ironically, the two callers, Abdullahi from Niger and Aneto from Edo, their opinions are not too far a shade from mine.
I was moving to another topic.
Okay.
We were talking about Tamboa at the House of Representatives.
To be honest with you, I am one who believes that if Tamboa is a man of honor that he claims to be, he should resign. I am one who believes that. You must remember that this submission, I've consistently held on to that submission because I believe that the constitutional stipulation regarding when you move from one party to the other as a member of any of the two chambers of National Assembly, as stated in the Constitution, you ought to vacate your seat. So Tamboa should not only be vacating, Tamboa should not only be relinquishing his seat as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, but he should also be vacating his seat. However, I am one who believes that the handlers of the president made a major faux pas. They made a major mistake in attacking the legislature. It was a major thing. I came here and I said on so many other platforms, that if you are a student of parliamentary history, what the parliamentarians did, the members of the House of Reps, what they did, and people were saying it was, I would have done it. I would have jumped that fence. Honestly, I would have jumped that fence because...
You would have broken your leg. Because with your body mass, I doubt you could have jumped that particular fence.
Some of them were much more robust than me.
Okay.
If you want to accuse me of obesity, accuse me. And the same blessing that God has thrown this way, may God also accord you. Because all these bonga fish. I'm sorry. Jokes apart. You always like to turn me to a comedian.
Your Tochukwu has called finally from Anambra. Good morning, Tochukwu. Good to hear from you. Are you there?
Oh, they seem to have lost.
I'm afraid we lost that. Well, keep trying. We'd love to hear from you, Tochukwu.
You see, let's keep, I like when I'm with you. The humor also embellishes and, beautifies. But the truth, the way I see it, is that Tamboa is the cause of this constitutional conference, and it behoves him to do the right thing. But having said that, I will not be privy to an arm, one of the three principal arms of government, trying to intimidate the others. Look at what happened in Ekiti yesterday. The governor went to the house to go and read the budget to a 7-man State House of Assembly, because he knows that in recent times, in our contemporary history, such malady has been allowed. I am looking for the day that a court of law will tell Fayose that what he did yesterday was not only wrong, but it should recompense the people of Ekiti, the totality of that budget. Because it was a budget of illegality. You see? So...
Let's take this call from Ilorin, just a minute. Abdulaziz, if you're there, go ahead with the contribution, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Go ahead, Abdulaziz.
Once again, your discussion is very, very interesting this morning. Yeah, but my own little contribution is that for everybody that are asking Tambuwal to resign, Mr. Tambuwal may not want to resign because of the show of impunity of Mr. President. You see, this is just the only dispensation I know. People opposition party are very eager to clinch this power. And the reason why they are very eager to clinch the power, to me personally, I want to believe, is the show of impunity, Mr. President. The show of force, the show of impunity. You can even see, even in PDP, some of them are not even much interested with what is happening in PDP itself. So much of even the opposition. So Mr. President is not even treating the words of democracy at the right way. Look at what is happening in Ekiti. Mr. President looks as if nothing is happening. And this is a show of shame to Nigerian democracy. And we can't continue this way. 7-member sitting. Mr. President can easily call Fayose to order. Come, Fayose, what we are doing is just only putting Nigerian democracy to shame and nothing more. Oh, Mr. President, keep quiet. Keep it quiet is just telling Fayose to continue. So all of these opposition parties are even saying, no, we can't continue Nigerian democracy this way. Being the giant of Africa, we can't be telling the other African country, this is how we run our own democracy. So for people that they could have resigned. For some of those people that love democracy in this country, we ask him not to resign. Because Mr. President, too, is even showing his own obvious show of shame. So the problem we have in this country is that Mr. President and his PDP are only trading democracy at the dome stage. So come 2015, I want Nigerians to have their voters card. Let us show ourselves as the electorate that we, the people of Nigeria, can tell the whole world that yes, this is democracy, and we'll be able to show it. Thank you very much.
Abdulaziz calling from Lord. Are we going to put the Ekiti blame at the doorstep of Mr. President again?
No, let's be very methodical. Abdulaziz from Ilorin has actually helped me a lot in the very surgical, incisive way he made his presentation. I am an unrepentant believer that Tambuwa is the cause of the Constitutional Conference. But when the presidential handlers made that, I just have to be polite on national TV. When they made that major constitutional faux pas by sending an agency of the executive to go and intimidate the legislature, like Abdulaziz, my own loyalty also turned. Because we would ordinarily, if we continue to support the president from that critical juncture, we would ordinarily have been validating, despotism. But I am one who believes that having proved his point and the opposition having asserted itself, it's about time somebody, especially the leadership of APC, come to a score political point. Tambuwa
should step down. Let's take this call from Ibadan. Good morning, Banijo. Banijo.
Banijo, not Banijo.
Banijo.
I want you to say
Banijo, kí ni so?
Kí ni so?
Hello. Hello.
Joe.
Hello.
Well, with you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Without your Mr. President for what in Nigeria, because we are not even happy. If Fayose could be doing all this hard safety and nobody is caught, it's too bad. It's not ideal. The democratic system like this. We need somebody to caution Fayose for what is doing in Ekiti. It's just too bad. This is just a contribution.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
To your specific question about Fayose, which Fanny Joe just mentioned now, you will remember, my brother, as a new savvy person, you will remember that there was a time that there was a coup. A coup was being orchestrated in the Nasarawa House of Assembly when the Nasarawa PDP majority members of the State House of Assembly wanted to impeach the governor. And the people of the state came out. Initially, they were calling them Boko Haram people. They were trying to stigmatize them. When the president saw the writing on the wall, he invited the Speaker of the Nasarawa State of Assembly to the presidency. And he had a private chat with him. And subsequent to that private chat, they kind of systematically recalibrated down and walked away from the impeachment drive.
No, that's right.
The president of Nigeria, like the president of America, is the chief pulpit moral persuasor of the jurisdiction. If the president picks his phone and says, hello, Governor, Your Excellency, Governor Ayofayoshe, the drama in Ekiti is becoming untoward. Let's find a way of, you working with your opposition. It's just a couple of months more. In the next 5 to 6 months, with your popularity, the Ekiti House of Assembly will be mainly constituted or made up by PDP, this thing. I'm telling you, the Fayoshe that I know. And I'm talking as somebody who knows Fayoshe very, very well.
Let's see if we can hear from Tochukwu this time. Hello, Tochukwu.
Go on.
Sounds like the voice of God. Go on, Tochukwu.
Good morning, Mr. Waloba. Let me quickly paint a picture of what happened a few days ago. A particular aspirant came to my constituency with a transformer, and he ended up taking the transformer back because the people asked him a direct question. Why is it that you are bringing this transformer now? Why didn't you bring it 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Why now? And he could not answer the question. So it was clear to everybody that he wants to appeal to our sentiments. So he took the transformer back. So that also brings me the question to the issue of Igbo unity and the power play and what have you. Honestly, it is true. Everybody has said it. Igbo in this part of the country, we don't subscribe to that type of unity that everybody behind one man, as you see in the case of the North, where you see, of course, it's an evidence. You see leaders living in affluence. Yeah, I don't want to start mentioning names. Now, the people are suffering. People who don't entertain that. We believe that if you have something to offer at a time, offer it. Once you have exhausted what you want to offer, we push it out. You see, so we so much agree to that principle of life. But some people interpret it as not being in unity or what have you. So that is the way. My contribution is that if indeed Mr. Tambuwa loves Nigeria and loves democracy, he would accept the fact that it will be very, very difficult for him to preside over a United House of Assembly. He can only do that with the consent of the PDP as to, and that is what happened in previously, where the minority ruled over the majority. It was with consent. Aside that, Mr. Tambuwa owes a duty to resign. My brother, it is not possible for a minority over the majority in the House. And APC should advise him. This is our concern. They should live up to expectation as opposition. Opposition should be filled with intellect and issue-based politics and not doing the same life of the ruling party that are accusing. So that is my contribution. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much.
I fully agree.
Quite exciting. But do you think that APC and Tambuwa will be scoring a big political score by resigning? But place that side by side with all the political machineries that Tambuwa also require at this time to win the governorship.
No, it doesn't need the National Assembly to win. It doesn't need the National Assembly to win Sokoto. What he needs to win Sokoto, he has almost gotten more than half of it. That is being chosen by members of his party in Sokoto to be their candidate. And let's be very honest with ourselves. We know that even when Tambuwa was a PDP card-carrying member of the House, he was an APC-made speaker. Is somebody now telling me in APC leadership that they cannot reenact the same drama that they enacted for Tambuwa? Get a PDP person that will be compliant to APC this thing, but yet will allow the leadership of the lower chamber to follow the universal convention in all democracies that the party with the majority, quote unquote, on paper, majority of members will produce the speaker. It is not constitutionally stipulated.
That's right.
It is not. But if APC were to swap places with PDP, some of our ẹ̀gbọ́n wa àwọn náà ò ní gbà. You see, this is what I tell people who are close to me. What you will not take, don't dish it out to people.
Very quickly, because of time, let me take you back to Ekiti, because you made mention of the role of the people in Nasarawa. In Ekiti too, even before these 19 APC lawmakers eventually left, you recall that the people of Ekiti, some of them came out in a protest asking them to return or they should be impeached from their posts. Where are the Ekiti people at this time? Just like the Nasarawa people showed up for the governor. Just before you answer that, I'm afraid we have to give our callers enough time,
yes,
because they really deserve it.
You are in business because of them. Not because of English-speaking Omoboshis like me.
That people are not united. But I just want to say that people are united and they are right. And according to history, they are just like Israelites. Any place they enter, they don't like any kind of molestation or superiority or someone being superior. They are not. You know that the Igbos are not united. They are united, and they don't want any downgrading of the thing. So that's what I can say about the Igbos.
Where's it calling? Okay. Thank you, Uche. We got your point loud and clear there, insisting that the Igbo is united than just like the Israelites of Nigeria. Where are the people of Ekiti, just like the people of Nasarawa showed up?
You are, with due respect, and I'm not saying this patronizingly, you are confusing issues.
Okay, how do you mean?
When the governor of Nasarawa was about being impeached and the people came out, they came out to say this governor was sovereignly elected by the Nasarawa electorate, the electors, the Nasarawa voters. And you people cannot say because we also elected you from different constituencies, now bring partisan motive to articulating the issues of state.
Okay.
I'm one who sat here. I sat here and I said I would have loved Fayemi to win, but Fayoshe was and is still popular in Ekiti. Majority of Ekiti is in the Ekiti diaspora, in Ibadan, in Lagos, in Europe, in North America. They find Fayoshe very nauseating, but they are not the voters. The people in Ekiti, the voters of Ekiti, as at this juncture, still love Fayoshe. However, because the people love you does not give you the power of tyranny over people who were also equally elected from their constituencies.
That's right.
And I think what should be done at this juncture is that somebody should go to court, not only seek for redress as the members of the House are seeking for redress, but I think the Ekiti 11, the people of Ekiti, the Ekiti intellectuals in the diaspora should go to court and say, you know what, because the budget that Fayoshe read yesterday was read to a non-valid portion of that assembly, any kobo spent on that budget Fayoshe should personally refund. It's about time. You know what happened somewhere in the, was it?
I might have to hold you just a minute, Gbola. Don't forget what you want to say, eh? Just hold that thought. We have Chinedu calling. Good morning, Chinedu.
From Enugu.
From Enugu. Well, you're in trouble today.
Gone.
With all this,
That is what you like now. People are calling you. You are doing like Gbola, you are in trouble. Is it Gbola?
Chinedu is talking. Let's hear what he has to say.
Sorry, Chinedu.
Oh, I'm afraid we lost that. Please call back.
You made him run off now.
But I am sure that this recap will save you here today. But moving away from there now.
None of them has ever criticized me. None of them are just making the point too.
I understand.
That the Igbos have been changed thus far in this dispensation. And if you are a fair person, as I try to be in all issues, even it gets me into a problem with my wife, you will come and report somebody to me. Baby, she ain't got to know she here. It will not willy, it will not willy, it will not willy. It's not fair now. But because he's your employee or because he's your worker does not mean that, you understand? I try to be balanced. Because when you are balanced, you will get things done more than when you leverage on your power or your influence to muzzle those who may not be able to fight directly against you, but if they are not happy, they will not be at their productive best.
Let's get back to this Ekiti matter. You were talking about...
So I was saying that it behooves the Ekiti people, not only the parliamentarians who are seeking redress for themselves now, okay, some Ekiti intellectuals, the Falanos of this world, to take this issue to court and let us get a judicial interpretation that it is not within the powers of a governor, even if he's so popular that he got the 110% vote of the people, to unilaterally usurp the constitutional infrastructure and turn the executive into a senior partner that can redefine the composition of the legislature. And I believe, you know, I'm a distant of Fayoshe. You know, I used to be close to him, not quite now because I try my best to find my living without going and begging to politicians. But you know what? I believe that the judiciary is still waiting for him because what happened prior to his being sworn in.
It's all right. Let's take this call from Salisu. Good morning, Salisu.
From Niger State.
Salisu, how's Niger this morning?
Yeah, I'm calling from Niger State.
It's all right. Go ahead.
The issue, the contribution I want to make here is about Tambuwal.
Okay.
Tambuwal is a great man. Tambuwal is a leader. Tambuwal is an actor. Because when you watch the leadership of Senate, it's the only man you can point out. Why PDP are very, very seriously angry with that man because they see the importance of that man.
Is it still there? Oh, I'm afraid we lost that. But I believe you also made your point there. Salisu, thank you for calling from Niger. We'll just take about 1 or 2 more calls before we go on the show today. But let's quickly bring this together because it's under the umbrella of the 2015 general election. It appears as if we have a system that is skewed, that is not in tandem with the rule of law. How do you see all of this impacting on the credibility of the 2015 election?
And it's very pathetic if somebody as knowledgeable as you, somebody as enlightened as you, and somebody as informed as you is rightly feeling that we are living in a state of pseudo-anarchy. It is an indictment of our politicians. Why would you use the kind of sentence you just used now? That it does say that maybe because we are approaching 2015, the general elections, we are almost in a state of, you know, lack of respect for the rule of law. If I got you right, that was just about what. And for an informed mind like you, a news savvy, you know, a public intellectual like you to say that is an indictment of our politicians. When you have somebody going to a state house of assembly where 19 have been chased away for 7 to sit, and one of the 7 is carrying himself as a speaker, you know, where the police who were paid to protect the people invaded the National Assembly with a view to not getting somebody to sit.
Taiwo is calling from Warri. Let's hear from you quickly, Taiwo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This time we're calling for Warri.
All right, go ahead.
Now, I see this country now as a lawless society where there is no law. Where somebody can just wake up because he's having a political position, can just wake up and take decision for the whole of Nigeria. That is exactly what is happening in Nigeria, and that is exactly what is happening in the state. How can 7 people take a decision where there are 20-something people to eat somebody? Where is our constitution? Where is our Nigeria heading to? Since the adoption of PDP government in this country, there has never been good reason. There has never been any that they have benefited from this PDP-led government. And it is this PDP-led government that is causing the deal of commotion that we are having in this country. If not, I've never seen it somewhere in a democratic setting. They have to be the principle of checks and balances. They have to be separation of power. If all of these democratic principles, there is nowhere to be formed in this PDP-led administration.
So,
we have to be very careful in this country not to cause a very serious commotion, because when Nigeria is heading to a very serious place where there is a problem in the near future. That is my humble contribution. Thank you.
thank you very much, Taiwo, for your contribution. What way forward at this time?
Taiwo's contribution is not too different from the opinion with which you post your question. Our politicians, especially the senior office holders, from the President of the Republic to especially his handlers, the doctors Donyo Okupes of this world, Ruben Abatis of this world, it's about time they sobered up. It's about time they sobered up, give good counsel to the gentleman, and let him be able to be seen as a man who has the intellectual power to distinguish between his partisan position as a member of the PDP and his lofty position as the President of the Republic. Even in America, the distinction is allowed for. When you act in such a way that that distinction is not made discernible to the people, you are practically asking for problem. You are practically asking for problem, and you are also going to, as we speak, cause the kind of disillusionment that the Taiwos of this world and yourself have expressed. You see, it's one thing to be a card-carrying member of the PDP, a partisan. It's another thing to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it's the same thing I would say to Fayose. He has won the election. And you cannot have the election every day of a 4-year constitutional tenure. He should find a way to accommodate the opposition for all it will last until another general election that is just going to be rolling in on the 21st. On the 21st of February 2015, members of the State House of Assembly will face re-election. He is not going to face re-election. So why get himself into all this stigma? Why get himself this stigmatized and, berated and be seen to be, have a thuggish predisposition to governance?
It's all right. Well, Oba, thank you very much for joining us today on Cold Digest. Now, you see why I call him phenomenal. We celebrate your passion.
You want a phenomenal? You want a phenomenal? You are the light cash light.
It's all right. A big thank you to all of our callers on the show today. We had Abdullah and Salisu calling from Niger, and Neto called from Edo to Chuku, the much anticipated call. Eventually came in.
Somebody beat Chuku to it today, but he gave me a fantastic, this thing I've been using. That you can't just bring a transformer. You don't remember 4 years.
It's unbelievable that
they elected you 4 years.
Happened in
3 years, 6 months. When you needed the validation, you are coming with transformer.
They said they asked him, why are you bringing the transformer?
And now,
well, Abdulaziz called from Ilorin, Banijo. Is Banijo right? Fanijo, okay, from Ibadan, and then Uche.
You have a way of reeling through all the places they call from, so that advertisers will know that they are calling from Niger.
That Call Digest is that show to bring all of your adverts placements.
I'll be telling my friends who watch it in America too, because the people don't know. You can
even say that to the camera.
I'll be telling my friends who watch in Europe, in the UK and America live, you too try and be calling in so that they will know that I'm popular. I'm popular. I can contest in this place as the.
Thank you so very much for joining us today on the show. A big thank you to Chinedu called from Enugu, and of course our last caller I believe was Taiwo from Warri. That wraps it today. Big thank you to you, the production crew. I am Nifemi Ogutoye. Stick around for the top of the hour news.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.